Satu blok keluar nak gantung Sultan dekat apa? Pokok demokrasi. Jangan buat benda ni. You nak berlakon politik, berlakonlah. Lagi sekali saya ingat, kalau nak menggunakan nama Sultan, jaga tata susila. Kerana nanti akibatnya lebih buruk. Penyudahnya kita apa pun tak ada. Itu sajalah remind saya.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Okay, anyone else? Ada soalan lagi? Terima kasih, silakan.
Panel members, moderator, and Mr. Rocky.
So your name, please, sir.
Gopalan Nair. Just an observation. Today it's like a debate, but you got two on the Barisan side and only one on the DAP side. It's lopsided. In future, Mr. Rocky, please let us have balance. It will be more interesting. Better discourse. Thresh it out. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number two, our Dato' Shafi called Pakatan loose and Barisan solid. It is perception lah. You look at Terengganu, how solid they are now. Okay, and in the Barisan itself, in both sides there is squabbling. Let's accept it. In the Barisan itself, sometimes you got one chief minister asking one certain party to get out. So you cannot simply say one is loose and one is solid. And if Pakatan is not a registered body, how come the Election Commission accepted it to contest under the name of Pakatan? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we have one more question? Can we have another question? Okay, since there are no more questioners, can we have that we are one-sided? Mr. Rocky, would you like to reply to that? Rocky, Mr. Gopalan said that the panel is one-sided.
Mr. Gopalan, it was almost a one-way street because we know this is not the ideal lineup, but this is a lot better than what could have happened. You know, when Datuk Nge confirmed Mr. Nga's participation about DAS yesterday, that confirmation actually saved this project of ours, because otherwise it would have been 2 BN versus 2 journalists. Thank you very much.
But Mr. Gopal,
if I can say something just for record. I think it's actually balanced. You may say that I'm pro-BN, yes, because I'm the legal advisor to UMNO. I'm on retainer with UMNO for 5 years, but not Datuk Shafi Abdullah. He has remained. In fact, there are cases where he acted against the government. Remember Tan Sri Kasita Gadam? Remember all the corruption cases? Those are basically against the government, but he stood by his client. So it's actually 1 BN, 1 Pakatan Rakyat, and Datuk Shafi as the middleman. Like what we have in federal court, the Attorney General is the one to see that both lawyers are fighting properly.
Thank you.
For Mr. Gopala's information, I was a lawyer instrumental in the case where UMNO was declared illegal. That's how independent I was.
Okay, before we wrap up, also to tell you, Mr. Gopal, we did discuss this, so we decided to give Mr. Nga as the last speaker so that he can listen to the other speakers, and he did reply to some points raised by Datuk Shafi'i. Okay, we come to the conclusion. We are giving our panelists about 1 minute each just to gulungan, to sum up, or to say good night or whatever. Can we start from the other end, Mr. Nga, and we just come down this way. Thank you very much.
First, I want to take this opportunity to thank and congratulate the National Press Club for organizing this forum. It is certainly a very visionary step in the right direction, and we hope that more forums can be organized for very civil intellectual intercourse and expand the boundary of freedom of speech in this country. As the saying goes, kita mulut lawan, hati sentiasa kawan. We may hold different views in this nation, but we are all fellow Malaysians striving to make Malaysia a better place to live. And approaches, of course, differs from individual to individual depending on the background and the upbringing that we come from. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my sincere hope that this crisis in Perak will soon be resolved and that everything will be done in a very orderly and civil manner, and the people of Perak will enjoy the prosperity that is due to Perak Darul Rizwan. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to echo similar sentiment to thank the Press Club and all participants in this. I think it is an act that ought to be encouraged, and it should be done on a regular basis so that the public will be better educated. I just want to say a couple of things. One is pertaining to the role of the Sultan. I have always held the view that the sultans in this country, the monarchy here, we have always said that the judiciary is the last bastion of justice. True. But what if the judiciary fails? Because at one time it almost failed. You remember that. After 1988, the judiciary almost failed. Where else do you look for the last bastion of justice? It is the Malay monarchy. That's where you can resort to as a last hope if everything else fails. And this is what happened in Thailand. In Thailand, if everything else fails, it is the king who calls all the politicians and gives them a direction, and they obey. They literally crawl to the king. Now, I have to emphasize on this because you remember May 13. I don't want to frighten you, but May 13, I was a young boy of 15 years old, 15 or 16, in Form 4. I was in a military college. We were asked to volunteer to go to the city, literally to pick up dead bodies along Klang River. Many of us had nervous shock, but we had to do the duty, and then some of us were reassigned to take food and deliver to the kampong, the new villages, to the Chinese and all that, so that the country gets better. Although I never went through a war like my father or my mothers or my grandfathers, but I know the harrowing experience of such catastrophe in this country if it were to happen again. A lot of people who never went through it think that, well, if you need to change, if you need to have some violence, let's have some violence. I think you're so wrong if you ever think like that. Because you should change system very peacefully. If there is a monarchy, if the monarchy gives you an order, you follow it. You follow the system in the most respectful way you can. The other point that I need to raise is it individual or the party that you vote? You can never tell. I give you an example. Tan Sri Lee Lam Tai, if he were to take any other party, the people will still vote him because it is the individual they want. Another person, maybe not as illustrious as Tan Sri Lee Lam Tai, is Ibrahim Halil. He can hop like a frog everywhere, they still vote him. The late V. David is another person. Dato' On Jaafar is another person. He can take any symbol, they will still vote for him. So you can't say, do you vote party or do you vote the individual? And lastly, I want to say that in history, in England, Parliament was never trusted for a long time. At one time, Parliament actually conduct their own election petition. Whenever you challenge an election of a member of Parliament, the trial is conducted in Parliament in England. It is for that reason they call the High Court of Parliament in England. But they realize that Parliament